So we're almost nearing the end of the HTML section. So there's one more key aspect before we start merging into CSS that we're going to need to know: a tag. Well, it's actually two tags. It's called div and span. Now, HTML and writing HTML code is all about applying meaning to content. So most HTML tags do apply meaning. For example, the p tag makes a paragraph and h1 makes a heading. But the span and div actually do nothing at all. They apply no meaning at all. Now, this might not sound useful, and we're gonna use it quite extensively in order to style in CSS. So div and span almost act exactly the same. Now, the only difference between span and div is that one is an inline element, whereas one is a blockline element. Now, an inline element is going to be a tag, basically, an element that goes inside of a big structure tag, such as paragraph or heading. Those are big tags, big structural tags, and those are going to be called blockline elements. Now, inline element is going to be used for span. So we're going to use span to go inside of different paragraphs. So for example, let's say we had a paragraph, and let's call this hey. So the paragraph has hey in it. Now let's add some more to this. Hey, this is a sample of using span. So now we have a blockline element of paragraph. Now inside here, when we want to style something in CSS, we're going to want to change something that's directly inside of here. Now we're going to want to use an inline element because we're going inside of this block element. So we're going to do this by span. So we're going to add a span. So bracket span, bracket, and let's move this out of the way because we want it to span something. And let's do this on after of. So bracket slash span bracket. Now this will basically, in our code, it's going to add a separator. It's going to do nothing at all when we play or when we view this, but it's going to tell us in future when we use CSS as style that this is going to be blocked off, and we're going to do something special to this. We haven't specified what we're going to do to it yet, but something special, in whether it's going to be through CSS or JavaScript, we're going to do something with this. Now, div is the same thing, except we can use a large chunk of blockline elements. For example, we could have many paragraphs and many headings. For example, let's do a paragraph like this, and let's do another heading of heading. Now let's say we want to block all of this inside, and we want to style this entire thing or do something to this entire paragraph and headings. So we're going to go above the paragraph, and we're going to add a div. So bracket div, bracket. Now let's just take away this closing tag, so we want it after the heading. Now after the heading, we're just going to do the closing tag for the div, bracket slash div bracket. Now what we have done is we've created a division, and we basically divided this entire website, and we've separated this apart from everything. We haven't done anything to the look of the website yet. It's going to look exactly the same as if we didn't have this div or we never had the span. But when we style this, we're going to be able to do special things to just these block elements. And the same thing goes with span. We're only going to be able to style what's inside of this block element. So don't think too much of it right now. It'll become really easy to understand the differences between these two when we actually begin CSS. But I wanted to make this clarification right before we jumped into CSS so it would be easier to integrate with. So stay tuned for the next lesson.